Hello students, let us start our new session with the new topic dielectrics and polarization. Basically dielectrics are different type of material from the conductor. Conductor is the material in which free charge carriers are available. And these free charge carriers are positive and negative and both are with the equal amounts. So if we are providing external field, external force to it, that external force we are providing through the battery with the positive and negative terminals are there. So inside the conductor, whatever the free electrons are there attracted towards the positive terminal of the battery, and positive charge carriers are attracted towards the negative terminal of the battery. And based on that, onto the surface, at one side electrons are gathered and another side protons are gathered. But the resultant value is 0. Resultant electric field or electric force is 0. But what about in the dielectric field? There is no free movement of the charge carriers are there. We need to provide them external electric field. While we are providing to them an external electric field, what will happen? They are generating a electric field which is in opposite to the given external force. For example, as we are providing positive terminal of the battery and negative terminal as we are providing connecting a battery, two terminals are there, positive and negative. So to the positive terminal of the battery, positive charge carriers are available with them, and with the negative terminal of the battery, negative charge carriers are available, right? So this is what happening. They are reducing actual effect of the external field. They oppose to the external field, right? So basically the resultant electric field value is reduced. They are not nullifying, because whatever the external force we are applying to attract these charges, the same electric field is not produced by the dielectric material. But yes, they reduce the resultant electric field based on the given external force. To understand this effect, we are focusing onto the molecule level. Basically, two types of molecules substance are there, polar and non-polar. In the non-polar, the center of positive and negative charges are coincide. So they combine, they can combine. But in the polar molecules, they cannot combine their centers, they remain separated and they are available at the nearby. So this is how it is defined over here. Into the non-polar molecules, while electric field is 0, means no external field is applied, so positive and negative charge carriers are combined to each other, their centers are combined to each other, and when we are providing external field, they becomes separated to each other and try to become in the form of dipole. And these dipoles are present and they are steady in such a manner that negative charge is available at the side of negative terminal of the battery and positive charge is available at the positive terminal of the battery. While in the polar molecules, dipole structure is already available, centers are already separated of the positive and negative charge, but they are in a random position, in a random condition. So resultant field is 0. But while we are providing external field, what will happen? They are in particular direction. They are in particular direction but not exactly, and the resultant value is not 0. So based on that, polarization depends on their relative strength of mutual opposite factor. One, dipole potential energy in the external field tending to align the dipoles with the field, and the thermal energy tending to dispute the alignment. If the thermal energy is there, heating is start to generated, then they disturb this alignment of whatever the straight line they are defined after applying external field. Whether polar or non-polar, a dielectric develops a net dipole moment in the presence of an electric field. Now, the dipole moment per unit volume is called the polarization. They are moving, they are polarized. Position would be changed. For linear isotropic dielectrics, polarization P is defined as Xe into A. Xe is the constant characteristic of dielectric and is known as susceptibility, electric susceptibility of a dielectric medium. Now, how does the polarized dielectric modify the original electric field inside of it? For example, a rectangular dielectric slab placed in external field E0 parallel to two of its faces. The field causes a uniform polarization P of the dielectric. Every volume element delta V of the slab has a dipole moment P. So that is P into delta V with the volume of it in the direction of the field. The volume element delta V is small but contains a very large number of molecules inside of it. Inside the dielectric, the volume element delta V has no net charge. The resultant value is 0. This is because positive charge of one dipole site close to the negative charge of the adjacent dipole. So likewise, at the surfaces of the dielectric normal to the electric field, there is evidently a net charge density. The positive ends of the dipole remain unneutralized at the right surface and negative ends at the left surface. So now this condition is become saturated. The unbalanced charges are induced due to the external field. Now in this saturated condition, no movement of the charge carriers are available. So thus polarized dielectric is equivalent to the two charge surfaces, positive sigma p and negative sigma p. The field produced by these surfaces charges opposes the electric field, external electric field. Thus total field in the dielectric is reduced, the resultant effect of electric field. The surface charge density plus or minus sigma p arises from the bound in the dielectric. No free charges are available inside the dielectric, only bounded positive and negative bounded charges are there. Now the next topic is capacitors and capacitance. What is a capacitor? Basically, capacitor is nothing but two conductors are there. They are separated by an insulator material. Generally, we are using dielectric material between two conducting plates or two conductors. The conductors have the charges Q1 and Q2, and based on that potentials are there V1 and V2. One conductor has a positive Q charges, second conductor has minus Q charges, so the potential difference is arrived V1 minus V2. Now the conductors may be charged by connecting them to the two terminals of the battery. Q is also the charge of the capacitor. Though this is a charge on one of the conductors, the total charge of capacitor is 0. The electric field in the region between the conductors is proportional to the charge Q. If the charge on the capacitor is doubled, electric field also doubled at that point. Now the potential difference V is the work done per unit positive charge in taking a small test charge from conductor 2 to 1 against the field. That potential difference is also proportional to the Q, and the ratio is Q by V, that is a constant. C equals to Q by V, which is known as the capacitance of the capacitor. What we are doing? Potential difference is available between two conductors. What we need to do? We are applying a work done condition and taking a small charge from 2 to 1. So charge is moving from conductor 2 to conductor 1. So that is proportional to the charge Q, and potential difference is available with the constant Q by V. Capacitance C only depends on its geographical condition, shape, size and separation between two conductors. Its SI unit is 1 Faraday, but 1 Faraday is very much a large value that we are going to discuss later in next slide. 1 Faraday is also known as Coulomb per voltage, Q by C, Coulomb per voltage. Symbol of the capacitor, if it is a fixed straight line, and if it is a variable, with the straight lines we are defining a arrow to define a variable condition. For a large capacitance, C is Q by V. So if we want to increase the C, obviously V should be less for a given constant charge. This means a capacitor with a large capacitor can hold a large amount of charge with small potential difference. For high potential difference applies a strong electric field around the conductor. A strong electric field can ionize the surrounding air and accelerated charges produced to the opposite charge plates. To neutralize this charge on the capacitor plates, the charge of the capacitor leaks away due to the reduction in insulating power of the inverting medium. The maximum dielectric field that a dielectric medium can withstand without a breakdown, it's known as a dielectric strength. For air, that electric field strength is 3 into 10 raised to 6 volt per meter. So for a separation between conductors of the order of 1 centimeter, and the potential difference between them is required 3 into 10 raised to 4 voltage between the conductors. For a capacitor to store a large amount of charge without leaking, its capacitance should be high enough so that potential difference and hence electric field do not exceed the breakdown limit. In practice, as I told you, 1 Faraday unit is very large. We are generally using 1 microfarad, 10 raised to minus 6 Faraday, 1 nanofarad, that is 10 raised to minus 9 Faraday, and 1 picofarad, that is 10 raised to minus 12 Faraday. Now, in previous topic, we discussed regarding general capacitor and capacitance condition. Now, if we have a parallel plate capacitor, it means whatever the two conductors are there, these are in terms of plates, and these two plates are placed parallelly. In between that, dielectric material is available. Onto the one plate, positive Q charge is there, and another plate having a minus Q charge is there. Separation between these two plates are available with the D, and area of plates defined as A. And D we are defining such a manner that D square is very less than the area of the plate. So plate 1 has a charge density. Charge density, it means charge per unit area, that is defined as Q by A. and another surface, a plate 2 has the charge density minus Q by A. So based on that, electric field on outer region of plate 1 is sigma by 2 epsilon 0 minus sigma by 2 epsilon 0 is 0. Same for the outer region of plate 2, that is 0. But in the inner region of plates, electric field is available due to the two charged plates. So we are going to add sigma by 2 epsilon 0 plus sigma by 2 epsilon 0, that is Q by that is sigma by epsilon 0 equal to Q by epsilon 0 A. That sigma is Q by A charge density. The direction of electric field is from positive to the negative plate. The electric field is localized between two plates and is uniform throughout. The field lines bend outward of the edges from the plate outer surface, and these field lines are known as fringing fields. Basically, fields are from positive to negative, it is moving. One plate is positive, another plate is negative. So field direction inside two plates are axial, from positive to negative. But what about the outer side of the plate? It tries to bend from positive to negative. It goes to the bend, it takes path of the bending path. And this bending path of the electric field is known as fringing field. And this sigma is not strictly uniform onto the entire plate. Now, as we assume d square is very less than A, this effect can be ignored in the region sufficiently far from the edges. For non-uniform electric field, potential difference is simply the electric field times the distance between the plates, that is V equal to E into D. Non-uniform electric field is there, as we are taking earlier. So for that, potential difference is V equal to E into D, electric field E into the distance between them two plates. That is 1 by epsilon 0 Q into D by A, because E that we have calculated earlier, Q by epsilon 0 A, and D we have placed as it is. And capacitor equation we have in the previous topic, we derived Q by V. So place the value of V over here and we have the equation epsilon A by D. Now if we are taking example of it, if area of plate A is 1 meter square, distance between these two plates are 1 meter, then my resultant capacitance value is 8.85 10 raised to minus 9 farad. So if we are taking a 1 values, that is in terms of 10 raised to minus 9 farad. So as we are saying, 1 farad unit is very much larger, and generally we are using microfarad, nanofarad or picofarad units. And if I want 1 farad result, for that if we are going to calculate its area then it would be a 10 raised to 9 meter square. It means my one plate is 30 kilometer in length and breadth, which is never possible. So 1 farad unit of capacitor is never possible, right? Here we are going to end our session. Hope you understood. Thank you.